What are the traits of losing traders? This is Bill Scheid from Applied Finance Research, and that's the question we're going to answer in this video. As the world's foremost trading psychologist, one of Dr. Van Tharp's greatest contributions to the trading world was his ability to clearly define the characteristics of both winning and losing traders. He did this by using neurolinguistic programming methodologies to study and model the traits of some of the world's greatest traders. In his work, he also ran across the traits of losing traders. And in this video, we're going to focus on the latter, the traits of losing traders. It's natural to want to study success, to look at winning trades and model winning behavior, and all that is very helpful, but there's tremendous value in also understanding failure. When we're aware of the common traits that derail traders, we can more easily recognize when those same patterns start to show up in our own behavior. So by staying alert to these traits, we can sidestep the painful, read as expensive lessons that come from learning lessons the hard way in the market. So as we go through this video, I'm going to invite you to remember this is not about judgment. What it is about is mindfulness and self-awareness. So when Van was interviewed for the book Market Wizards, the author Jack Schwager asked him directly, what are the characteristics of losing traders? So here's what Van said. He said, first of all, a losing trader is someone who is highly stressed. So contrast this with someone who has a healthy and balanced life, which is, by the way, a trait that Van said is common amongst the successful traders that he modeled. So we do live in a society where we say, grind, grind, grind all the time. But Van said that the most successful traders he studied, he found that they had healthy and balanced lives. Van said that a losing trader is someone who has little protection from stress. So this would be someone who is not adept at regulating their mental and emotional states. And this type of internal regulation is a trait that Van said is also very common in successful traders. Van said that a losing trader has a negative outlook on life and that they expect the worst. To me, this is really interesting because one of the things that Van taught all the time was that our beliefs create our reality. So if we have a negative outlook, we're going to get negative results. If we expect the worst, we're going to get the worst. A quote that Van shared in one of his courses, and I can't remember who he attributed this to, but I love this quote. He said, "You always get what you believe, unless you believe you don't, in which case you won't, which means you did." I love that. You always get what you believe unless you believe you don't, in which case you won't, which means you did. A losing trader has a lot of conflict in their personality. For example, perhaps they really want to make money, but they grew up in a household where rich people were mocked. Or maybe the trader really wants to be successful, but the only model they have for that was their dad, who was a highly successful professional, but who they resent for not spending more time with them as a child. A losing trader blames others. When their account goes down, it's because of the market maker or because of the Fed or because of those stinking quant traders, etc., etc. It's always somebody else's fault. This prevents them from learning from their mistakes, which actually keeps them doomed to keep repeating their mistakes. A losing trader would not have a set of rules to guide their trading. So contrast this with successful traders who use systems thinking to research and develop their trading systems. A losing trader would also tend to be a crowd follower, which probably means they do things like get in at the top and get out at the bottom. A losing trader is also disorganized, which hinders your ability to plan, prepare, execute, and assess. And these are 4 traits exemplified and taught by one of the most successful traders I know, Dr. Ken Long. A losing trader is also impatient, which probably also means that they lack discipline and they do things like let their losers run and cut their winners short. Of course, we know that this is exactly the opposite of the formula for successful trading. And finally, Van said that losing traders want action now, which translates often into overtrading and lack of risk management, both of which can be fatal to your account. So again, the purpose of this video is not to be judgmental, but it's to be mindful and build self-awareness. So when we see these traits coming up in ourselves, we can recognize them and make a more successful choice. This is Bill Scheid from Applied Finance Research. Thank you very much for watching and happy trading.